So let's go into
Sorry, go ahead.
okay, you got it?
Mhm.
All right, so let's go into the musts here. All athletes need to have a designated porter. We realize that sometimes something happens and you lose your porter, and we've done our best to try to match up volunteers or other athletes porters. Sometimes an athlete says, hey, I can take on an extra person, and that's okay as long as they're at about the same pace. We've had coaches who are out there, they're coaching their athlete, and they say, well, yeah, I could handle another athlete as well. But you need to have a porter there. That's a must, and the porter must be with you to pick up your packet the evening before the race. We
Oh.
do have 3 people looking for porters. Their expected finishing times are about 7:45, 8:15, and 8:30. So if anyone's feeling generous, just contact Maureen at anyevents.com.
I'm putting it in the chat.
We'll put it in the chat, and thank you for that. On the other hand, we realize we don't want to ask anyone to jeopardize their race by distracting their own dedicated porter, but it really depends what your goals are here. We have a new rule just for this year, and it's with good reason. There's a segment of the road starting at about mile 50, 51, which is you're on 153, you jump on 25 for a very short minute or so, and then you're back onto 153. It's like one of those situations where the road doesn't just go straight across the highway. It takes a little jog to the left, and then it goes off toward Conway. For about the next 10 or 11 miles, some of you who are familiar with the area, you know it goes by the ski area. It goes through the quaint little town of Eaton, and it's all straight roads, but they are narrow, and it goes all the way up to Conway. And in recent years, and the sheriff and I were just talking about this morning, for some reason, a lot of visitors to the region have picked up on this road as, oh, it's a very scenic way of going up to North Conway. Let's go that way instead of going on Route 16. And when we add to that the bicycles on the road, and we add a vehicle for each of those bicycles, porters who are trying to leapfrog ahead for their athletes, it was just getting too congested. We've had to create a no vehicle rule from the beginning of 153 after 25 all the way up to 16. We will have staff in vehicles going back and forth along that area to see if anybody's got a problem. And we'll help out to the best we can, but we ask the porters to go around that segment of road.
Do you by any chance have a map that you can kind of show them where that's at? That might be helpful.
Let's take a
We
look.
can help you with that too on Friday when you pick up your packet. I will have a map out and it will say porters not allowed from here to here. Porters instead go around this way. So that way you guys it's a little more clear for you.
All right, so let's do a little share here. And this is the bike course.
Wait, they can't see it yet.
Not yet. All right, let's do some zooming in. And there's Eaton. So what we're talking about is all right, you can see mile 50. If you can see my cursor move around, you've gone through Effingham, very desolate, remote part of the bike course. You'll see a vehicle once every 5 minutes, perhaps, and you get up to 25. Now, 25 is a fast highway. We deliberately do not want our athletes on fast roads as a rule. That's why we have a no athletes on 16 rule, and we have a no athletes on 4 north, because both of them are 55 miles an hour with not adequate shoulders. 25 Route 25 is a 50 or 55 mile an hour road, but it has a very wide shoulder. And also the sheriff's deputies will be up there, or they'll try to be up there unless they have a call to deal with some other issue in the region. You'll be crossing Route 25 to get on the right-hand side of the road, and then you will be traveling along a very wide shoulder. When you get to when you finish this quick little, not even a mile, and the bikes will make a right to go up toward Freedom, East Madison, Eaton. Porters should continue going on 25, go down to 16, and just take 16 around. And then you can go up to Conway, and you can get back on to, is it 153 at that point, or is it River Road? It's, you read that?
It is west
West,
something.
okay.
West Side Drive.
West side, thank you.
West Side Drive, thank you.
All right, I'm
Yeah,
glad someone can see that. All right, but
I should have remembered that, but, and then you can, a popular place is the covered bridge, which is here for the porters to stop and wait for their athletes. There are also parking spaces along this road, another possibility. Some people wait, they drive a little bit further and they wait till the sharp right where West Side Drive turns into, that takes a while.
you wanna zoom out?
Yeah. But I was afraid I was going to lose the name.
There we go.
Up in here is another spot where there's a farm stand. There's a lot of turnouts along the road. That's a spot as well to wait for your athlete. But hopefully everybody's got the exclusions zone squared away. Ask a question, if you will, in the chat, and after we finish our run through, we'll answer your questions. Now, as an athlete is going through Conway, North Conway, maybe getting to Storyland, that's about the right time for the porter to head off toward Wildcat. And you want to allow time for your racer's backpack to be checked. Kathleen, what's the run through on that? How they?
Okay, for the porters, you're gonna want to bring your athlete's backpack, and if you're climbing the mountain, we need your backpack as well. It needs to be at least 10 minutes before your athlete actually gets to T2, which is Wildcat. There are times when there's a good line, so if you're there 20 minutes early, it's not going to hurt you. Let me see, Andy, you think I could share my screen? Let me see, I'll give it a try.
Yeah, you got something in mind?
Yep, I do. All right, let me see. Oh, would you stop sharing for a second?
Yeah.
Stop sharing up on top. There you go. All right, so porters, let me show you where we're at. All right, so you're going to come up, this is for athletes as well. You'll come up the hill to Wildcat Mountain. Athletes, you're making this right. And your porters notice right here, you are parking on the right side of the parking lot between where we have our check-in tent and the lodge. And by the way, the lodge does have bathrooms that are open. They don't usually open to about 10 a.m., but usually you guys are going to be out in the course anyway. The check-in tent, that's where you're going to come and bring me either your athlete's pack or your athlete's pack and your pack, or anybody else that's going out with your athlete. We want to make sure that you've got the equipment that you need in order to summit. Once we have checked your pack and you wait for your athlete comes and off the athlete goes, then you'll be able to go up to the auto road. Remember, there is a charge for the auto road. I do not know what it is this year. If you are staying in an area hotel, or sometimes you can do it online, there's usually like $5 off discounts or a promo code. So of course use that. That Summit Road is an adventure in itself. So the auto road going up, so be prepared for that.
Do you want to show this to show the in and out?
Of what? Where are you at?
This is Wildcat.
Oh, no, I think that they get that. So here we are, we're back. The Wildcat, it will be obvious where Wildcat is up Route 16. Of course, you're going to have it on your GPS anyway. That is in the athlete sheet that I will hand you. It does have the Wildcat address on there. And then finding the auto road is easy enough. You'll make a right out of the parking lot and you'll keep going until you hit it. Okay. Anything else? I've got some other.
Yeah,
stuff, but-
yeah, I'm going to back up a little bit. Wanted to talk quickly about the swim. I know here we kind of jumped ahead to the bike, but if we're going to do a share on this here. The swim is 2 loops, and this kind of gives you a sense of what it is. It's 2 loops that you stay in the water. You do not have to get out of the water and run around and marker and back into the water. But with these 2 loops, we get that 2,000 meters, which is what we can do in Knight's Pond here. Water is almost always gentle, flat. Sometimes it's foggy. We will, work with that. We even have lights inside the buoys, if you can believe that, to try to help for sighting. But we expect a clear day from what we can tell right now. So that is the swim. Now we can jump back ahead to the run. And what we'll show you here is so what you're looking at on the far right-hand side is the start of the run. This is on a terrain map, so you kind of get a sense of you're going uphill, and at one, as the further you go up, the steeper it gets. You leave Wildcat and you're not heading back down. It's actually slightly uphill, but you're heading back in the same direction that the bikes that you came on the bike. And you're running down to the Pinkham Notch, which is a very popular Appalachian Mountain Club facility. Exercise care in crossing the road. Pick your right time that's right for you to cross. You can cross soon, or you can just wait till you get down and you see the Pinkham Notch signs and the buildings, and you can cross there. We'll have staff at the entrance of Pinkham. There are restrooms and full facilities there. There's a snack bar if you want. And then off you go up the Tuckerman Ravine Trail. That is the only trail that you can take in this race. There are other ways up there. Some people might think they could save a minute or two, but I don't think you can. And, just for a safety standpoint, we have professional mountain guides who are up there. We'll have 4 or 5 of them. We'll have other staff as well. We have checkpoints. Just something I want to mention, actually. We have 125 racers, and we have something in the order of 25 people working this race. So that's a ratio of 1 staffer for every 5 athletes. This is, no small undertaking, but we hope you feel assured that we're going to do our best to take care of you.
Okay, you want me to jump in?
Yeah, what do you got?
All right, what do I have? All right, first let's get Andy off a share. There you go. All right, I was creating bibs today and I found that some of you still don't have a USAT number. So if your USAT number is not valid, the best way of knowing that is because we keep sending you emails saying you need to to have a valid USAT number. So that would mean that even if you put one in, it's not validating. So please contact Maureen. If you go up towards the top of your chat, you'll find that Maureen at needevents.com. She would love to hear from you. If you're having any trouble with that USAT number, if you're not, you just haven't done it, please do it before Friday. On that same note, porters, we still, as I was creating bibs and matching up porters and athletes, I found that some of you athletes don't have a porter registered. That doesn't mean that you haven't put that person in when you registered and it said, who's your porter? And you wrote that in. That's not being registered. It's just helping us to match you up later on when your porter registers. So the porter still needs to go into our registration system. And hopefully I'll do that in just a few minutes. I'll add it to chat. I'll add that link. But you've also been getting email. You guys have been getting lots of emails. If you have not registered a porter, you've been getting an email saying you haven't registered a porter. And there's a link in that email. So please send that link to your porter, have the porter fill out basic information, and then also sign that that waiver. That's how we find out that porter phone number, because we need that if there's any issues with you on the course. We want to know the porter's t-shirt size so that way we can give them the correct size. Lots of good things like that that we need information for the porter. So if you have not done that yet, will you please do that in the next 2 days before Friday? It would be much appreciated. All right, other things to tell you, we have 3 swim waves this year. We're gonna have men 44 and under, all women and relay teams, and then men 45 plus. You guys are gonna go off in, they're not huge waves, but you are going off as a mass start for each of those waves. There's about 50 of you in each one, or a little less than that, and you're 2 minutes apart.
USAT birthdays.
Yeah, of course you guys know that already. So your birthday is based on the end of year, not race day.
The age you'll be at the end of the year.
Right, the end of the year. All right,
Okay.
what else do you have?
We do have bike support this year. It will be at at T1. And Jerry and his son are going to be there. They run a local bike shop. Once again, it's really more for emergencies. I think it would be a very good idea for you to have had your bike completely checked and well ahead, and looked it over yourself very carefully the night before the race. But we will have some bike support there if needed. On the bike, that we are following USAT rules. You'll see in the actually the bottom of the athlete's guide, the new, well, new, it's a couple years now, the USAT draft zone is 12 meters, which is 40 feet between bikes. We have a lot of vehicles going from Spring Hill to Wildcat. 7 of them are specifically designated with looking for infractions. So,
Right, so there is, and what's the penalty for drafting?
we follow Ironman rules on the penalties. So it's
4 minutes.
4 minutes, or is it longer? 6 minutes? No, I forgot.
It's in the athlete's
Yeah.
guide. Andy
have it in
can't
the
find,
athlete's
Andy's got
guide.
the athlete's guide printed out here, but
Yeah,
it's a lot
I
of
can't find
writing.
it.
So check
right.
the athlete's guide, and we are serious about that. I think one year, Andy, how many drafting penalties did you give? It was like 10 or something like that.
No, it was in the upper teens, and we had 2 disqualifications for multiple repeated offenses. So we have that. There are 5 railroad crossings on this bike route. If you're not familiar with how to handle those, make sure you hit them at a perpendicular angle so you can stay safe. You do not want your wheel possibly lining up with the railroad track as you go across, because that it's probably going to end your race Not saying you'll get hurt, but your bike will. So, let's see.
I've got some other things
What
on
do
the
you, what do
page
you
now.
have? I'm,
So sorry, we're jumping around a little bit because
Right
I'm
back
trying to follow Andy's sheet.
I'm trying
The
to talk, yeah.
all right, so in the athlete's guide, Andy's just going right down the list. If
Oh,
you
we
ever want to
talked
read the
about
athlete's guide,
medical check.
that's exactly what I was going for. So we were talking before about Wildcat. And the porters, you guys are going to come beforehand. You're going to make sure, usually about the time that your athlete gets to what's it called? It's not Christmas Land. What's at the bottom of the hill? Storyland. There we go. By the time your athlete gets to Storyland, and you've checked in with them, they've got nutrition, food, bikes going well, everything's great, you can start heading up the mountain, because there's nowhere really for your athlete to stop in those next, about 10 miles. So you come up and come see me. We're going to check the athlete's bag. If you're going up, or anyone else going with the athlete, we'll check that bag as well. If you go into the athlete's guide, there is a section that says important, what you need to have in your run backpack. I'm checking every single one of these items. And if you don't have one of those, your athlete doesn't go up. So the biggest things that people forget are batteries. So please make sure you have batteries. And if you throw in some extra, you're going to have a very grateful porter, because somebody else will forget theirs. So please have that. When we say warm hat and gloves, I don't mean a ball cap. I mean warm hat and gloves. It can be, 30 degrees at the top. So we want to make sure that you're prepared for that. First aid kit. Some people buy a little first aid kit, and then they don't actually open it up. That's fine if you want to return it later, but it needs to be in your pack. The other thing that people, that I find the biggest issues with is food. When we say food source, I mean actual food, not what goes into your bike bottle. That's great. You've got calories in that, but I want to see real calories. I want to see something you can chew on, or in the case of a goo, suck down. But we're not talking about liquid when we talk about food source. Those are some of the bigger things that I tend to see over and over again. I always have extra gels and goos and things of that sort that I'll throw in a bag if we haven't met the 800 calorie minimum. You can always have more, but I want to make sure that you're going to be okay as you get up, particularly as you get on the head wall. Sometimes it's hard to plan your food if you have not actually done the run in your training. Sometimes food planning doesn't come out just right. You're like, oh, I'm halfway, I'm good. Well, if you're halfway at Hermit Lake, you've got a long way to go. So we're going to make sure you've got enough food in that pack to get you up the mountain, particularly if there's some situation where you're up there longer than you expect.
Yeah, before anyone writes into chat and pushes back on this, over the years, we've had discussions with athletes, we've had discussions with medical professionals, and I'll give you the scenario, which is the scenario we try to be prepared for. Here, something happens on the head wall. That's not necessarily that you got hurt or whatever, but maybe you sprained an ankle badly or something along those lines. And you're going to just have to work your way down slowly, or perhaps you're even going to need assistance to get up or get down the mountain. While everybody's back at Wildcat having their dinner, you're getting hungrier and hungrier, and that's one of the main reasons why we with the consultation of medical professionals, we've set these standards for what you need to have in your pack. So you may not have used it. You may have just drank your way up with your fluid replacement drink. Great, but please have everything on our list into your backpack.
Okay, so you said medical, so that reminds me, of course, we have Dr. Heidi will be in our white tent that I was showing you before, the same place where porters come and bring the backpacks. Dr. Heidi is going to be there, and she's the one that's checking in the athletes that are going up the mountain. Somebody asked, do the porters need a medical check? Not by Dr. Heidi. We're really looking for the athletes that have just done the 95 miles on the bike. We want to make sure that they're you know, that they're doing well physically, sometimes mentally. We've had a few that have had to take a few minutes before they're willing to go on, which is fine. But the porters, we hope that you are all in good shape because you've, for the most part, been sitting in the car all day, hopefully drinking fluid. But we do need your pack.
And Dr. Heidi is an experienced, very veteran doctor with the Portland Medical Center. And she's also fully wilderness certified as a practicing physician as well. So she knows her stuff. So no lips to Dr.
No,
Heidi,
no one
folks.
ever does. I mean, as soon as you get in front of her, you're like, okay, whatever you say, that's fine. Porters, though, so here's a trick. If you look at your athlete, you know your athlete better than we do, and you're like, you know what? He's not, I know that look, and that look means he's totally dehydrated, and give him a minute and he's going down. Just give a little look to me or to Heidi, and then we'll know. So we'll be able to take it from there. But sometimes the athlete feels like, no, I've got to make this, make this happen. And their, life partner is like, oh, I've seen that look before and it's not good. So, so don't be afraid to give me a wink, and we'll make sure we take care of your athlete, because ultimately we want everyone safely up to the summit.
Yeah. Have we talked about allowing a porter or another companion to accompany?
Yeah, we kind of just touched on that a little bit. So porters are allowed to go up. We need to know beforehand. We need to know that if somebody doesn't show up, we need to know who to look for. And you need to sign a waiver, and you need to have a pack. So I think we've got some athletes that a porter's going up and another friend is going up, and that's great. It's so nice to be able to have company. But we need all those packs. And I need to know who it is up there. And last thing, athletes, you have to carry your own pack. A few years ago, we had a number of people that they gave their pack to their porter, and that's not fair to every other athlete. So the idea is to be fair all around. You have to carry your own pack. And whoever you bring up with you, so here's, choose wisely, whoever you bring up with you, whoever starts off at T2 and goes to Summit with you, your time does not end. Your finish time is not recorded until that person is with you or people are with you. So, so if you've got someone that you're like, I'm not completely sure they're going to do well, but or they're going to be able to keep up with me, but sure, come on, you rethink it, because your time doesn't get recorded until your companion is at the finish line as well.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, someone finished the race. We said, "Where's your porter? You're supposed to have a porter." He points down the mountain. He says, "Right there." And there's like this little speck way out.
Yeah,
down
yeah.
the
And so we don't want to leave anyone
mountain.
out
We
on the
can't
mountain.
do that.
So
We can't risk it. However, there is an option at the halfway point. We're at Hermit Lake, where we have two staffers, Michael and Kate. You and your porter can present yourselves, say, my porter's not going to go the rest of the way up. I'm going from now on. And that's fine. He just checks it off. And your porter's had a nice little hike on the lower slopes and then heads back down.
right, yeah. That happens all the time. It's not a problem at all.
So do that. I don't know if I mentioned the public restrooms at the AMC Pinkham Notch Visitor Center. There's also real fully operational restrooms near the Hermit Lake Lodge at the halfway point. Watch for signs. It's just a little bit off the trail. And a few hundred yards further up the slope is a hand-pumped well, again slightly off the trail, but you should be able to see it if you look to the left as you're hiking, for additional drinking water. Usually, the hikers who are on the mountain, they've already figured out there's a race going on. They've seen the bibs, and actually they become pretty big fans out there. And often they will, I would say more times than not, they'll say, "Hey, come to the head of the line and get your water," or they'll even pump it for you. We've heard those stories.
Right. Usually there's a line though at the water pump, so you can't guarantee that.
Later in the day, I think.
Yeah, because all the other hikers are out there. It's like the best water ever. And so all the hikers are after it.
Okay.
Right.
Porters, if we haven't stressed this yet, please read the Porter section of the athlete's guide and read it closely. You're an important part of this race, and your athlete's success is dependent on you to some degree. And so, you know, you want to help as much as you can, and you want to follow the race rules. So please, we started the athlete's guide when Kathleen and I took over the race in 2018. Up till then, it was just the race director's briefing before the start. And we've tried to put in there every year as many new things that come up. And so I think we've got most of it there, although I'm sure there'll be plenty of questions at the end of our little
So
conversation.
that explains Andy's like multiple page athlete's guide. We are going to, there's a number of questions in the chat and we're going to cover those in just a minute. Have you gone all the way through your list?
We're almost there.
All right.
If your athlete abandons either on the bike or on the run, please let us know. We've put into the athlete's guide Kathleen's number, cell phone number. That'd probably be a good start. If there isn't cell phone reception, we have Kathleen's satellite device, and that's a texting device. It's not a satellite phone. It's actually a texting device, but you can text to that number and she should get it within a minute or two. And then please continue calling, or porters, continue calling or texting until you get a confirmation response from Kathleen. So we're not getting awfully nervous up on the mountain as daylight starts to fail.
Yeah, so we will, if we have not been able to account for you as the day goes on, or you didn't get to T2, sometimes the bike just doesn't happen the way you expect, and you bail athletes, then the porter needs to be able to contact us, because otherwise we're calling around and saying, oh, are they okay? Have they been in an accident? What's happening? And as a mother, I tend to worry a lot. So so if you all just make sure that you contact us. And speaking of that, and I don't know if I see on your list, some of you will be, some of the porters will be summiting with athletes and taking the van back down. There is a van that goes on the auto road. If you look in the athlete's guide, I think Andy has a note about that. You can't always guarantee that van. Andy and I got caught out one year and ended up getting a ride with, you know, a couple from somewhere else, that they were like, sure, we'll give you a ride down the auto road. Don't kill us. So, so, you know, keep in mind that van is not always available. Usually there's other porters that are up there, but sometimes their cars are full too. So just kind of be mindful of that and make your plans accordingly. All right, what else do you have? You ready for chat?
I think we're ready for chat. Just wanted to mention, please, those who maybe have a bad day, have a mechanical, just whatever's coming up, respect the time limits that we've put into place. We really have to do it because we have a lot of people on that mountain, and we need to get them off of before it's starting to get dark, because trying to walk down that mountain after dark is a nightmare. So please respect that. If we tell you your race is over, we hope that the race is over. We've had instances where some racers have said, let's say they didn't do well in the swim, and they didn't make the time cutoff. They've gotten on the bike and gone for a bike ride anyway, and the destination happens to be Wildcat Mountain. As long as you do it without a number on you, we're okay with that.
So
you become a member of the public at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
So that reminded me of something else. Oh, I know it was awards. So awards, I think Andy, you changed it in the athlete's guide, right?
It's 2:30.
So award ceremony will be at 2:30. Now, what ends up happening is that we have an influx of those early finishers, and then there's a gap before some of the later finishers come through, and then people that finish their race a while ago and end up just kind of hanging out when they really want to shower and a nap. So we're going to break that up a little bit, and we're going to do an award ceremony with whoever we have there at 2:30. And remember, the awards are only, it's 10-year increments, and it's only first place for age groups
Plus
and
overall.
relay, and then overalls for second, third. So so as soon as we get that first finisher for an age group, you know, we can go on with the awards. So if but we still end up with first place age groupers that come in after that, or come down to the mountain after that, down to Wildcat from the mountain. So we will do a second ceremony, or if you're like, okay, I want my burger, remember we're doing burgers this year. We've got John Stansfield right here. Hi, John.
For some reason, for
so
some reason it's not.
go back to gallery.
recording.
Yeah, there we go.
Right.
So there was a cameo right there from John. So we'll do that awards. If you want, like, you're like, okay, first place finisher, I want my award and I want to get out of here and get my burger, no problem. We can do that for you. Or we'll do the 2:30 awards, and then we'll do one a little later on when we have more of the later finishers. We just find that works better than people having to wait for hours in order to, you know, if we wait till 4 o'clock, that's a really long time for someone that finished early. And then I mentioned the burger bar. For those of you that have raced with us before, we've always done the turkey dinner. Turkey dinner is great for the first 50 people, and after that, it's not so hot. So we switched, and we're doing a burger bar. That is beef, chicken, Impossible burgers. There are salads, there's gluten-free buns, and we'll have that out throughout that day from 1 to 6. So that way you guys are always getting some fresh food that hopefully hits the spot.
Yeah. Turkey doesn't stand up well throughout the afternoon.
As Andy attests, because he's
Yeah.
always the last one down and gets like cold, kind of yucky turkey. So no turkeys, we're getting burgers instead.
Okay.
All right, you ready for chat?
Yeah, let's
All
answer
right, let's get
questions
this
and
done.
let everybody.
All right, so for everyone that that came in late, we have, if you've not found the athlete's guide, you can find that in the very first or second post in chat. So you scan all the way up, you're going to see knee events, race details, Sea to Summit. And you're also going to find in that same area Maureen's email. Maureen is one of our assistant race directors. And if you have any issues with your USAT number or with your porter or with anything else, she loves talking to you. Just send her an email, and she can help you with absolutely anything.
Yeah, anyone wearing a red shirt should be able to
At the
answer your
race,
questions and help you at the race. Kathleen and I are the race directors, but we have 2 exceptional assistant race directors in Maureen and Dawn. So they'll any of us can
Answer
help
anything.
you.
Answer anything. You just throw something at them, they'll answer you. Okay, so Hannah had asked, and this was from like way back, way early on, about an hour ago. We were talking a little bit about sometimes we have to make some last minute adjustments. Let's say with a course, you know, Andy was talking about a wire down, and we had to alert everybody to you know, to an issue on the course. We will let you know that. Hannah's question was, what if something happens while we're all out there? And we have not had an instance where we had to contact everybody on our list, but we will if that's what we need to do. So that's another reason to make sure that we have your porter's name and your porter's cell phone number, because that's how we're going to contact you.
Yeah, when it comes to weather, you can only, we actually subscribe to an advanced weather service, and that's looking good as we look at it. But it's the rangers on the mountain who we find they know what's going on. For one thing, there's a weather observatory up there, so and they kill time chatting with the meteorologists, and they're saying that Saturday is looking.
It's looking good right now. Yeah.
Looking good. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but sometimes the weather at the top changes, and we don't see that, you know, at T2. And so that's where, you know, if we have to adjust the run course, we will let you know, either at T2, or if need be, we would call you. All right. Hopefully, Hannah, that answered your question. Can we call our porter? Larry asked, can we call our porter if needed? Yes, that's exactly what your porter is for. If you are on the bike course and you have an issue, you want your porter to come and help you. If that is in that no, if it's in the no porter zone, Andy, how do you want them to?
In the zone where there's
That was
no
my
porter,
question.
There you go.
If
Okay.
it's a no porter zone and we spin a rim or something and we need our porter, we got our extra rim in our car, can we call them in just for that and then have them get out of there?
Yes, yes, absolutely. And we will have 2 vehicles, perhaps 3, that are constantly circling within that region, that area as well, to look to see if, you know,
Yeah, everyone's
everything's
fine,
going
yeah.
well.
But
Plus, we have
just for
all
for clarification, will those vehicles, will they be support vehicles? Will they have things on for us, or are they just going to be spotting us and saying, yeah, you're, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
They won't have
yeah.
anything to give us, right? They're just going to be citing us.
Yeah, that's correct. They're going to be able to contact your porter if you do not have a cell phone.
Right. Or reception right there is not great. It's quite spotty in the lakes area. So you might have your cell phone and not be able to reach your porter, in which case flag down. I mean, they're going to see you. Obviously, you're on the side of the road, but still flag them down anyway. And they can at least drive to a spot where they can call your porter. So we have had that before. It's like, you know, someone say I had to drive 10 minutes before I could actually get cell phone reception. Hard to do when you have a bike that's not working.
Yeah.
So that's where you'll be able to use them.
The race has a rule that you can go into your porter's vehicle at any point during the race. Once the porter's vehicle starts moving with you inside, you have
That's
to
your race is done.
abandon the race, and obviously it's a DQ if one of our officials saw that happening.
Right. But yeah,
Yeah.
but you can go in the vehicle at any time. Sometimes
Right.
people need to do that.
Thank you very much.
No problem. All right. Brian asked, will there be signage alerting cars to the event?
There never has been. It's a long bike course. And so no, you have to kind of view this as in the same way that you would for a training ride that you might be on. You know, we deliberately try to keep the course in a more quiet part of Maine. However, it's Maine in summer. There is traffic there. So we do not put up signs. For one thing, there is no one course, and that's an important component of this. You need to get yourself up there, and we've had some of our athletes do things like jump on a gravel bike or maybe ride a gravel bike, because these days gravel bikes are practically as good as road bikes, and knock off a mile here and there. You know, because of that, there is no one route where we can put those signs.
Right. Yeah, no official
Yep.
thing. So April asked about parking in the top of Mount Washington, and you're the one that's up there. So there's lots of parking lots up at the top of the mountain.
There is. Yeah.
So
that's-
they don't fill, then they don't usually fill up.
No.
Okay.
No, they do. They don't fill up. You'll be fine. And don't hesitate to proceed slowly as you go up. I mean, it's a mountain road, and it is. You'll think it's like what you watch when you watch the Tour de France as you drive up it, and there's nothing wrong with, you know, just going into a low gear and going up like a grandma.
Yeah, okay. So Ben asks, like the bike course, the run will not be marked or have anything pointing towards the correct trail, correct? Except for a person. So at the run, on the bike, you're right, there's no markings. When you get to Pinkham Notch, it's pretty crowded there with a lot of tourists, so you don't always see our crew member, but her name is Kathy, and she's probably gonna look like she's not having a good time, but she really is. So smile at her anyway. If you go around the Pinkham Notch lodge there, you'll see there are signs that say Tuckerman's Ravine Trail. And so you go around there, that's where the bathrooms are. You go right past the bathrooms before you get on the trail. So it's, yeah, so we've got her, and then you'll see some other people along the way. But there is no big sign that says, see the summit, turn here. So you've got to be able to know to go around the mountain or go around the building, use the potty, and then keep going. All right.
I can show a photo that might help.
Okay. All right. So while you're doing that, let me answer John. John just wants to be clear that porters are allowed to drive to the summit of Mount Washington. Correct. That is the only way you're going to be able to get your athlete, John. You're going to have to climb, or not climb, you're going to have to drive up to the summit and you're gonna use the auto road to do that, that in itself is a challenge. If you are a porter and you are driving up, you're gonna be like white, or maybe it's just me, I don't like heights, but it's like white knuckle all the way up. It's very windy and steep.
That's why I say just take it nice and slow. And if there's some motorcyclist behind you who's weaving and kind of anxious for you to go along, forget it.
Too
Let
bad.
them pass you.
Right.
Here's a look at the entrance to the Pinkham Notch Visitor Center. There are that large building that's a little bit to the right, a bit to the right of the American flag. That is the visitor center. And to the right, you can't really see it. There's a number of dorms, almost like a hostel type situation there. What do you see? Oh.
Good, switch fingers. There you go. Okay, so so the trail is behind that building.
Yeah.
So there's like a little tiny bit of a hill, bathrooms back there, and then the trail entrance is right there.
So you're going to be running along the road for a little bit, and to your right side, you'll be seeing this, except that being summer, it's all going to be nice and green.
Okay, all right. So Madeline asked about how will I know if my porter is registered. Usually if you are not getting those I say those annoying emails from us, then your porter is set. Madeline, I'm going to check in just a sec as we're reading through here. I'll check yours personally. If anybody else is not sure if their porter is registered, you can always shoot an email to Maureen, or you can throw it in chat. And as we're talking, I'll take a quick look and see what we have. All right. Next question. Sean asked about a place to change into bike gear. You want to handle that while I'm looking at this?
Into bike gear?
Yep, into bike gear.
Many athletes, they're swimming in their tri-suits and they're heading out on the tri-suits. You can go to your porter's car, as we said before. It's early morning, it's dark. There's, you can do the two car door trick, where you open up both car doors on one side of the car, and you've got yourself a screen, and you can have a porter with a blanket or a towel to cover you.
We've done that. We have had some nudity in transition, but that's up to you.
Yeah. But it's early morning, so anything goes. There's a lot of questions. How far do
I know, I don't know, but Ben asked another question about tickets. Can you purchase them? Online? I actually don't know, because I'm lucky enough to not have to go up there. Is that something you can purchase? Like, somebody else might know. We have a bunch of athletes that have raced with us for a while. So if someone knows the answer, I don't want to just throw something out that's not accurate.
I always just give them the credit card, and
I just looked it up. Sorry to interrupt. While we were doing that, so you just purchased it the day of. You can't get it before.
There we go. Okay.
Sorry, answer my own question.
Okay, there you go. Thank you. All right, Becky asked about full finger bike gloves. Becky, the idea of the gloves is warmth. So if your bike gloves are going to keep you warm, if the weather, if the temperature were to drop when you get to the top, and maybe you have, Andy was talking about like a sprained ankle or something like that, you end up there a lot longer than you planned on. If you feel the bike gloves are okay, then use them and tell your porter that Kathleen said during the meeting that was okay to have, because otherwise I'll be like, what are these? So we need warmth is what we're looking for.
We do want to mention, though, that after you finish the head wall, and now you've got the last, I don't think it's a mile, but or so to go, it's still steep. And a lot of people, including me, have to put my hands down from time to time to steady on rocks as I'm moving along. And those rocks are almost like they've got barnacles on them or something.
It feels like it.
I would suggest the full glove. And
Yeah, no, I think her
yeah.
question though is like, we have to have like
Okay.
hat and gloves in the backpack.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you're gonna put gloves in, I
Yeah,
think
pack something you can
put
climb with.
gloves that you might find really handy as you're scrambling up rocks.
That's a good point.
So-
Okay, so there we go, Becky, you got it. And then Amelia asked about parking at T1 overnight. Rosalie's okay with that, right? As long as it's, let me know on Friday or Saturday morning so that way we can tell you where you can park, because there's a wedding there
Right.
later in the day.
There's a wedding on Saturday, so it would be best if soon after you enter into the Spring Hill Lodge grounds, you find a parking spot over there, so you're not parking right where the or very close to where the wedding's going to be, because the wedding's going to be on this little grassy hilltop at the end of the parking lot.
Yeah, we can show you when you're there. That'll be easier to see. All right, so the question was, you do not get a medical check. So KT wrote, hiking, do we need to stop for a medical check at the ranger station? No. Dr. Heidi is going to check you before you go up. If she doesn't think that you're going to make it all the way up, she's not going to let you go right away. You'll have to wait and all that. So you don't have to get a medical check at the ranger station. I'm imagining you're talking about Hermit Lake. You will need to check in. This is something good for you guys to know, that we call it like the halfway point. You need to make sure that Mike and Kate are there, and they've got a clipboard and they need to check you in at that spot. So you'll tell them either your name or your bib number. They'll check you off and then you can keep going. It is your responsibility to find them. They're usually pretty easy to spot. It's your responsibility to find them and make sure you are checked in. If you get to the top and you have not checked in, then that's a DQ.
They're looking for bibs, and I suppose it's theoretically possible that if you have your bib around back and you kind of are hustling and maybe you're in a group of hikers or something like that, they may have trouble spotting you. So that's the reason why you want to kind of
Yeah, just make sure that they
keep a
know.
lookout. We have traveling with the race, in addition to Dr. Heidi, who's also going to be traveling the bike course on her way to the T2. We also have Chloe, who is a paramedic. She will also be at the swim. She will also travel the roads, and she will be near the top of Mount Washington. That's now, if you're having, well, this could even be if you, let's just say you see somebody in distress on the course and you would like to report it. There is full medical equipment at the Pinkham Notch Lodge. There is full medical equipment. I mean, the litter, the AED, the medical packs, and also people who are EMT certified at the Hermit Lake Appalachian Lodge.
Right, those rangers. They're not people.
Caretakers Lodge, that's up there. And they have a full medical suite at the very summit as well. Anyways, we will have 2 medical professionals out there to help.
Okay, so other questions? And this, you might know this because you were just dealing with the satellite phones. If someone's mobile phone number has 0 signal, so it's only like the SOS, can they still text a satellite number?
No, if you don't have cell phone coverage, your text to our satellite device isn't going to be received. You will find, like anywhere in the United States, that sometimes you don't have good cell phone coverage, and you go 100 feet, 100 yards up the road, and all of a sudden you've got 2 bars. So
Yeah, just move
that's my
around.
suggestion. Yeah.
Usually the satellite phones are most helpful because we end up in spots where we don't have service and you're trying to call us. You've got great service and we don't have any. So the satellite phones will help you to be able to contact us in that way. Chuck asked about how do we get notified that our hiker dropped out at the Hermit Lake at that first hike. You're going to be you might have already started out. We'll call you, or I'll call you, or I'll text you, or I'll do both. If we find that an athlete didn't make the time cutoff at Hermit Lake or decided to turn around, sometimes it happens, they get that far up and they're like, you know what, it's not my day. But in the meantime, you've already started up to Summit. So we'll just contact you and say, hey, come on back down, your athlete's here.
Yeah, our staff on the mountain has the most powerful walkie-talkies that we that are allowed. And so we will be communicating with each other. Plus, we have at Hermit Lake, Michael will have a satellite device as well as at the top of the head wall. So that's kind of the best coverage that we can offer. And we also have the professional guides, and they also
Yeah,
will be
nice.
talking to each other constantly and be able to relay information up or down the mountain.
Okay.
Remember, you're going to be in the midst of hundreds and hundreds of hikers, especially if it's a nice day. And so you won't be isolated on this trail. Oh no, there's no one around.
Just you and the moose.
There might be more around than you wished, but yeah, it's
have lots
it's a
of
bit of a party up there on a nice summer's day.
Okay, so the next question was T1 cutoff. T1 cutoff is at the beach, not at bike transition. And that is a good, there's a huge difference between the beach and all the way up transition. There's a giant hill in between the two. So we have made the T1 is at the water's edge. Right, yeah.
Okay. That's-
Overall, Bill asked, how's the overall time recorded?
We have to go old school here. We will have multiple timers at obviously we start at the swim start, and we will be doing the waves every 2 minutes. As you exit the swim, if one of the 3 people there cannot easily read your number, they will ask you what your number is. So it's a good idea to memorize your number. Then you've got a number on your bike. So as you come into transition, you still might be asked for your number. So it's always good to have your number in mind. And we take the times at each of those areas. We do have a race clock, and that race clock will be at the top of the mountain. And we'll have it pretty accurate. Your race is over when you touch the table, which is just about at the peak. We can't quite have it at the peak because it's not level ground. But after you touch the table, you've finished the race. Congratulations. And, get a little something to drink, get your bearings, and you may want to go up a little bit further to the very peak and have your photo taken.
Right. So do you want to explain why you do it there and not at the very top?
Oh, yeah. In the early years of the race, we recorded the finish time when someone touched the rock pile at the very top of the mountain. What you have, if it is a nice day, you'll have periods, and especially after the train comes up from the other side, they have they got all sorts of ways of making money up on that mountain. And there's a train that comes up to the top and lets off a couple hundred people. And all of a sudden there's a long line for people who want to go touch the rock pile at the top and get their picture taken. And while 9 times out of 10 or 19 times out of 20, when one of our athletes came running up to the top and touched it, everybody in line clapped, and that's great, and congratulations and all. But then, I don't know, it's just the way of the world nowadays. So lately, that 1 time out of 10 or 1 time out of 20, people are angry.
They're cutting in line.
Yeah, this person came and cut in their line. So anyways, we just feel we'll take the time there, and then you can go get your picture at the top.
Okay, great. All right. So sorry. So we are, we have, I'm assuming a few more questions. I can't see my scan. Are we tracking people for progress? No. So Terry asked, and this is probably a few other people, we're wondering the same thing. Unlike Ironman, where they're tracking the athletes all throughout the course, we do not. So you should be a porter, and then you'll know exactly what your athlete is.
Yeah, we
Otherwise, I don't
we
know.
provide as much as we can, but if you think of
Yeah.
an Ironman entry fee by 2,000 entrants, you can see they have a little bit more cash to work at things like auto tracking. So
Yeah, I wish we did, but we don't do that. The results, though, that does bring up results. As soon as the race is finished, you will get the athletes will get an email, and it will have your finish times there. All right, is the auto road open? Mark asks, is the auto road open to anyone or just porters? Auto road is open to everybody. And everyone will fit at the top of the mountain. So there'll be lots of people up there that are not racers. All right.
but there is a snack bar up there. It's got pizza and every bit of junk food. If you feel you need to get something in you before you head down the mountain for the post-race dinner.
Yep. And then Terry asked another question. Thank you, Terry, for asking or Terry or Jordan asking questions. Bike transfer. If you have 2 bikes, we only give you 1 bike number. So what some people have done in the past, if they've gotten I mean, you can use cardboard if it's not going to rain, or something that that is waterproof, that you can then attach to your bike via either tape or zip tie, and you've got your number on that, and then you just move that from bike to bike. But you have to have a number on whatever bike you're using at any time.
Does it have to be the number you give us? Because like I've got this number kit. So once I know my number, can I just put that number on both bikes?
Yeah, yeah,
Works.
I think so. And I find also a lot can be done with having a few zip ties and a small roll of duct tape as well.
Yeah,
You
but he's
can-
got the like
You
the,
can do a transfer.
yeah,
no,
he's
that's
got the
right.
number itself. You
But for
gotta-
those who want to just transfer it, it's kind of easy to, isn't it easy to?
No,
remove?
you can't get that thing off.
Oh, you can't.
No,
Okay.
it is a wraparound. You're asking about that. So it's a wraparound because it would normally go around your post or your frame. So, and we need to be able to see both sides. You just want it to wrap around something else. But that reminds me of one other thing. This is new for this year. We're going to be marking the porter vehicles. We have it's a window marker, so it's supposed to come right off after the race. But we will be putting your athlete number on each porter vehicle, and that will help us to identify the vehicles.
Similar to what you get at the car wash.
Right, except for, yeah. And then the auto road easily navigated in the car that does not have all-wheel drive. Oh, totally. Yeah, it's a paved road. As long as you don't have anything in tow, and they have certain types of cars that have like towing, I don't know what one. Go to the auto road website, because there was a few
Oh,
types
unpaved
of cars.
sections?
No. Like on the auto road, there's a few cars that they say these are not ones that should be climbing the mountain.
If someone has one of those Mercedes Sprinter van type
Oh,
vans or
that's what it
something
is,
like
yeah.
that, you may want to double check the specifications
Right,
on
right.
that.
Yeah, those aren't allowed. And nothing in tow. How do we know if our register? Oh, Madeline, I responded to you. Oh, you got that one. All right. Oh, it looks like I scanned down. What other ones do you have? Do we have to wear bibs on the bike, or only on the hike or run? You just need the bib on the run. You don't need it on the bike because we have your bike number, and you'll have a helmet sticker. And David asked, how long does it take to drive up the mountain? Well, you've done that a lot. How long does it take?
You leave Wildcat, pay your fee, go up 20 minutes,
It's not bad.
25 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. But sometimes there's a line though, isn't there? So you need to allot for that.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was.
Oh,
figuring
okay,
When I
okay.
was thinking, oh, you might have to wait a few minutes to get to the booth,
Okay.
but they're pretty good at collecting the money and sending everybody up there.
Okay. And then Gloria asked, can I have liquid calories as well as solid for the hike? Totally. As long as you have the calories where we can see them, it's like in a package, then that's great. You can put whatever you want in your bike bottle.
Yeah. There was a question if there's a hiker joining for the hike other than the porter. Do they do the waiver?
Yep.
That-
Yeah,
get
then
that one?
if you're coming to pack and pick up with your athlete, then you can just come to the registration table and just say, hey, I'm going to be climbing the mountain, but I'm not a porter. We'll have you sign a waiver. You also need that backpack, and it still needs to be checked as well. And then we'll associate you with your athlete, so that just so we make sure that we know who we have out in the mountain.
Yep.
And then there was a question about backpack. Does everything need to be in a backpack, or can we add stuff to other outfits or shorts? You need a backpack. Something that you or athlete's is going to wear up the, pack that you're going to wear up the mountain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I have a pack, but I also have cargo hiking shorts. Can I disseminate my stuff throughout the pack and the shorts for comfort?
Keep in mind that I need to check that pack if you're on the bike, I need to check the pack before you actually get there. So everything's going to need to be able to fit in the pack, at least to start with. Or your porter can carry some things and then other things in the pack. I'm okay with that. And then you just stuff everything in your
Yeah,
pockets.
then you distribute as you need to as you're heading out. So, yeah,
Perfect.
we have
Thank
some
you.
people do things like that with hydration
Yeah.
and vests and
Um,
what have you. Medical check is only for athletes. There's a question of, I think, did you answer this already about the, are there markings on the course?
Oh, yeah, we answered that a
Yeah,
long time
all
ago.
right, because we
All right.
do not have an official.
So here's where we are. So we're at Nick. Nick, you asked, do we leave the bike at T2, or do we have to pack everything up before the cart? Pack our bike into a porter car before climbing Mount Washington. That is exactly what your porter is for. So porters, you are essentially at the disposal of your athlete. Whatever your athlete needs, that's what you're going to provide throughout the day, which also means your athlete's going to hand you the bike or lean it up against the car, and all of the sweaty, gross stuff that might have come off the bike as well. And then the athlete's going to be able to go off and run, and it'll be up to the porter to clean up all of that stuff and all the wrappers and things that are left and put it all into the car. Athlete, you don't have to worry about that. It's not all you got to do is start your run.
Be nice to your porter.
Yes, definitely be nice to your porter.
There's plenty of Ironman athletes who throw their bike at the volunteer who's taking
Yeah,
it
don't do
away
that.
at
Don't do
the,
that.
after the 100 miles. All right.
Okay, so then question, if the you gotta turn the lights on. If the old guys are delayed starting by 5 minutes or so, do we get an extra 5 minutes? Yes, old guys. So you will have, because there's 2 minutes between waves, whatever time the last wave, and they're not all.
Can you walk, Bucky?
Does that make sense? So the
Your attitude sucks.
You don't need
Oh,
to do it for
we,
long.
how
Just
about
do
if,
a little. I did walk him
anyone-
quite long this morning.
Let me,
Okay.
hold on a minute, guys. There we go, got him. So where were we at? Oh, the swim. So
Old
the
guys.
last waves.
We're at old guys.
We're at old guys. 45 plus, that's not old. The 45 plus wave, you'll go off. It ends up being, if we're exactly on time, 4 minutes from when the first wave started. Whatever time that is will be noted, and you'll get that extra time on the back end. So so if it's 5 minutes, it will be 5 minutes more. Okay,
Okay.
good.
Okay.
Are we?
Are there riders that do not use a bike GPS and follow the route without issue, or is it pretty much required? Part of the spirit of this race, and it's part of why Kathleen and I were attracted to it when we were asked to take over as race directors, is the more adventurous and this more cerebral part of this. It's not just a matter of being in great condition and being able to put your head down and hammer, but you've got to think too, and you've got to work with your porter and talk things through. Use the porter for assistance if maybe you're along the route and you're not positive. Next time you see the porter, say, tell me again, all right, what's happening up ahead, and where am I going? But yes, 153 is a road for quite a bit of your bike ride. But at the end, you are on Route 16, but you're north of North Conway. We don't allow anyone to be on Route 16 south of Conway, but north of North Conway you can be. You could, and some people have asked about, should I go through North Conway, this Route 16 Main Street, because it is a little bit shorter. I don't think you want to do that with pedestrians crossing the road and car doors opening and things along those lines. I suggest you stay on that West Side Drive and River Road.
Okay,
So
so,
next,
okay, so the last, Brian, it doesn't look like you actually have a question. It looks more like a comment. Yes, you are all going to be checking in one way or another. You're going to check in, or you're going to call your number at the after you come out of the swim. You're going to do so when you get off of your, actually, you don't have to do it when you get off the bike. No one's going to listen to you, but you, so let me explain that. So for those of you that have not raced with us before, when you get off your bike, I showed you a picture a long time ago now, at Wildcat, you're going to come around, you're going to make that right into the parking lot. It's got a little bit of a hill and there's some gravel there. So you're going to want to really be mindful of that. I think Andy's going to put he's going to share that Wildcat for you. Okay. So, so can you move that chat out of the way too, so I can see? All right. So you're going to come in on the right side of the road there. You're going to make the right into Wildcat. There always ends up being some gravel and dirt there. We get that off as best we can, but it's a gravel parking lot. So you're going to come down.
don't go flying into this parking lot.
Right. So, so you're going to come down on your bike. You're going to find your porter who is going to be looking for you, who's going to direct you to wherever the car is, because there'll be, 100 cars there. So your porter, that is an important job for you. I've seen some people get really frustrated and they come in, they have no idea where their porter is, and the porter's in the bathroom. So, so be mindful of when your athlete should be coming in. Your porter's going to find you, bring you to the car, get rid of whatever you need to, get whatever you need, and then you're going off on the run. Before you start running, you just have to check in at the medical tent, and Dr. Heidi will check to make sure that you are physically capable of climbing, and she will check you off, so that way we know that you have a medical check. If you are an athlete and you do not get a medical check and you go all the way up and you summit, you've been disqualified because you didn't go through the medical check. So we have had that happen where someone just missed it. She just kind of got race brain and she kept going and totally missed her her medical check, and she was disqualified when she got to the top. So that was a long day for a DQ. So so make sure to check in at the medical tent. You'll check in at Hermit Lake, and then of course at the finish, that would be a good idea to check in there as well. All right.
All right.
So I think that's it. So that was the last of the questions that we see in here. If anyone has any other questions, throw them in chat really quick, and we will answer those so that way we all can move on. All
Yep.
right.
So Friday afternoon, a group of us will be getting things squared away at the swim site and the packet pickup, and we're looking forward to seeing you. You can come a little bit early, just don't ask for your packet, please. But you can take a walk down to the water and chat with Scott and Mike, who will be working on setting the buoys. Some people will be swimming the course. I always hope that I get a chance to swim the course the evening before the race, and so we'll look forward to seeing you.
Right. So there's a few other questions that came up. The minimum age for climbing is 18. And bike lights required, yes, but if you don't have a bike light already, we do have some that that we're happy to give you one. So we just want to make sure you have some kind of light for
But if you have a bike light that you prefer, and if I had a Varia, I would say, no, I don't want anybody's light, I want to use that, then please go ahead.
If you don't have one, we have some.
Yeah.
That's they're not super, but they're better than nothing. All right, so I think that was the last of our questions. Last chance for anybody else. If you have any questions that come up later on, or you're the question about your porter, we do have a couple of people that said they might be willing to take on another athlete. So we will be checking that over and seeing if we can match times with the few people that we know that need porters. We do have a very short list of athletes that are in need of porters, so we will check that.
And those who have told us over the last week or so, or asked us for help in getting them a porter, if things have changed, please let us know as well.
Yeah, that would
So
be
that we
helpful.
can kind of sort it out and try to get everybody all set.
Great. All right. It looks like we don't have any other questions. We appreciate you guys being on tonight. And we look forward to seeing you Friday from 4 to 6 at the packet pickup.
Yep.
That's it.
Get some good sleep, especially the night before, right?
All right.
All right.
All right. Well, we appreciate you guys being on tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.